Great day, everyone. Today, I want to share what I believe is one of the most important leadership lessons in the entire Bible. It's found in James chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. Listen carefully. James says, "But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Then desire, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death." Did you catch the progression? James doesn't start with sin, he starts with desire. And before desire, there was a thought. Think about that. Most people think destruction begins with a bad decision. James says, no, it began much earlier. It began with a thought that was never governed, a desire that was never surrendered, a temptation that was never confronted. The enemy rarely starts by asking you to destroy your life. He starts by planting a thought. What if no one finds out? You deserve this. It's only one time. Everyone else is doing it. It's not that serious. The thought arrives. Now you have a choice. This is where self-governance begins, because not every thought deserves agreement. Not every feeling deserves action. Not every desire deserves permission. James says desire becomes pregnant. Think about that picture. Pregnancy doesn't happen overnight. It develops, it grows, it's fed. The same thing happens with temptation. The more attention you give it, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, it gives birth. James says it gives birth to sin, but James doesn't stop there. Sin grows up too, and when it reaches maturity, it produces death. Notice the pattern: a thought, a desire, a decision, a habit, a consequence. No one wakes up one morning and suddenly destroys their marriage, or loses their ministry, or ruins their career, or sacrifices their integrity. There were thoughts, there were opportunities to stop, there were warning signs, there were moments to turn around. The tragedy isn't that temptation came. The tragedy is that it was never interrupted. And that's why I teach pause before agreeing with the thought. Pause, pull back, step away from the emotion. Don't let your feelings make permanent decisions. Assess, ask yourself, where will this decision lead me? Not tomorrow, 5 years from now. Will this bring me closer to God or further away? Will I be proud of this decision if it becomes public? Will I be able to stand before God with confidence? Then release. Release the temptation, release the offense, release the pride, release the desire before it grows into something you can no longer control. Here's something I've learned from working in law enforcement. People often think consequences begin when they're caught. No, consequences begin the moment the thought is entertained, because every decision is first practiced in the mind. And here's the encouraging part. God doesn't just tell us how temptation works. He also gives us a way out. You are not your thoughts. You are not your temptations. Being tempted is not the same as choosing sin. Even Jesus was tempted. The question isn't, will temptation come? The question is, what will you do when it arrives? Will you entertain it, or will you govern it? Because every leader, every believer, every husband, every wife, every parent, every person will eventually face temptation. The difference is not who is tempted. The difference is who governs themselves before temptation becomes action. Remember this: the enemy wants you to focus on the moment of sin. God wants you to recognize the first thought, because if you win the battle there, many of the battles that follow never happen. So today, pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your desires, pay attention to what you're feeding, because what you continually feed eventually grows, and what grows eventually produces fruit. The question is, what kind of fruit are you growing? Thank you for listening. And remember, self-governance isn't resisting sin after it's visible. It's governing the thought before it ever becomes a decision.